Hey everyone, I'm here with my 2022 Subaru Outback 2.5 Limited, and I want to do a 50,000 mile, almost 4-year update on this car. This has the 2.5 liter normally aspirated direct injection 4-cylinder boxer flat 4 engine, CVT automatic transmission, and just want to talk about kind of how this car has been over the last 50,000 miles, what's gone right, what's gone wrong, and just my overall impressions. So first, just want to explain why we got this car about 4 years ago. So in October of 2021, we had a 2018 Outback 2.5i Touring, and that car had just under 50,000 miles at that point, so a little less than what this car does now. It's about 3 years old, almost 4 years old at the time for that car as well. And basically we had I think a 5-year loan on that car. We had paid it down to about 3 to 4 years remaining at a low interest rate, 1.99% at the time. And my employer had a good VIP discount with new Outback, so that chopped off about $2,500 off the price of the car, in addition to a $500 Subaru Loyalty Certified Pre-Owned discount. And used car values were pretty high at the time, so we were actually able to sell our previous Outback to CarMax for about $1,000 more than what we paid for it a year prior, after putting on about 11,000 miles on it on the 2018 Outback. We wanted all the same features that the Touring had for 2018, but we wanted a newer car, low miles, and a similar interest rate at the time in fall of 21. So we sold the Outback 2018 in fall of 2021 in October, ordered a 2022 Outback Limited with the same engine but direct injection, updated with the new body style, 4 years newer than the other Outback. Waited a month for that, and at the time we didn't have any kids. We lived in an apartment, didn't need like the extra space or anything, so we shared my 2020 Audi A4 for a month between my wife and I, working from home, again towards the end of the pandemic, while we waited for this new 2022 to arrive at the dealer, which it finally did on November 29th of 2021, and that's when we picked it up. And now, since November 29th of 2021, here we are, October 5th of 2025, almost 4 years later, with 50,511 miles on the clock. And it's been a really great car for us so far. It's had all the same features as the Touring did that we had for 2018 and the previous body style. I would say that probably going forward, it wouldn't get the black exterior color in the future. I think a lot of people who have black cars for the first time realize that it's hard to keep them clean. Everything shows up on them. It gets dust, pollen, the bugs are just all over the front end of the car. As you can kind of see, we've taken this car on about 2,000 miles worth of driving here in the last 3 weeks. So we got to get a car wash pretty quickly. It's just getting pretty nasty. Also just hauling the kid in and out of the car and putting in the stroller and the day-to-day grind just kind of scratches up like the doors and other stuff. So let's get into a few things that, in terms of maintenance, and also things that have gone wrong over the last 50,000 miles, which isn't too much, to be honest. The battery had to be replaced at about 44,000 miles. It failed their kind of durability test at the dealer when they did a test on it in February of 2025, so just earlier this year, at about 43,500 miles, which is a bit of a bummer because usually batteries last a little bit longer than that. The car didn't actually have any issues with starting or anything like that. It just failed on the tester, and they wanted to charge $400 for a replacement through the Subaru OEM battery. But found a good Walmart AGM in the H5 size with 680 cold cranking amps that Consumer Reports and others online have rated very highly. So I swapped that out with my dad for about $190, so less than half the cost of what the dealer was going to charge. So I got the battery replaced. Also put on these Michelin Cross Climate 2 tires, as the original Yokohama Vid GT tires were just sounding pretty bad. Got them put on at about, I want to say, a little over 30,000 miles, and now the car is 50,000 miles, but part of that time has been with Michelin Excise snow tires, so I probably have about 15 or 16,000 miles on these tires. And last I brought it in, they still had 9/32 tread. I would say that maybe a hair lower than that, maybe 8.5, 30 seconds of tread left. So they're only like 15 to 20% worn after about 16,000 miles on them, so that's pretty good. Should hopefully last 60 to 70,000 miles on this set of tires, so that's right in line with their warranty at for the Cross Climate 2s. The front and rear brakes are still original. Brake pads and rotors are still original. The front pads have about 40 to 50% remaining on them, and the backs have about 30 to 40% pad remaining on them. So probably by, I don't know, 65,000 miles, I'll have to do the rear brake pads and rotors, and probably 75 to 80,000 miles on the clock, I'll have to do the front brake pads and rotors, which is about right for you know, this car of this age and mileage. So those are still original. Tires are wearing really well. Did have a left rear shock that had to be replaced at the dealer under warranty. It was leaking. I've seen someone else on the forums that did have a leaking left rear shock on the same trim and year of car as this one. So I don't know if it was a bad supplier quality issue with the left rear shock, but at about 25 to 26,000 miles on the odometer, the left rear shock had to be replaced under warranty, and alignment was done. Four-wheel alignment at the dealer was done at that time as well. Windshield is held up well. I know a lot of people have had some concerns about the windshield cracking. I think that the glass was updated for model year 2023. 2022, they might have had a late revision to help improve the durability, but so far, windshield's been good. I've replaced the wiper blades front and rear with Subaru OEM wiper blades, and then the front wiper blades are also replaced under warranty at about 22,000 miles. So we've had 2 wiper blade replacements as well. I've replaced the engine air filter twice, once at 24,000 miles and then once at 48,000 miles only about 2 weeks ago. So 2 air filter replacements, and then I've also done 1 cabin air filter replacement at about 30,000 miles. So in about 10,000 miles from now, I'll do the cabin air filter again. That's once every 30,000 miles or every 2 to 3 years on average. So that's looking pretty good. I've also had the sun visor replaced on the driver's side of the vehicle. That was replaced under warranty because there was just a quality flaw from the factory that I'll kind of quickly show you. Basically, this is like a parting line between, you know, how this is formed here. Basically, there's a really sharp edge like right here, and it just kind of bothered me when I saw the, you know, driving with the visor up in the sun. So that was covered under warranty. No big concern there. They couldn't just replace just this little plastic bezel. They just replaced the whole visor. I don't know if the dealer just wanted the extra dollars to replace the whole thing instead of messing with this little thing here, or if it just came as a whole assembly from the supplier. So replaced the whole visor under warranty for a little sharp edge that I saw here that was just not finished and looked kind of bad for a new car. So that was the really only thing there. In terms of how things have held up on the interior, at first I did notice that some of this white stitching that contrasts with the black leather wrap on the steering wheel was starting to fray a little bit. You can kind of see in the sun that you can see a little bit of the threads kind of coming off just a little bit, although it's kind of gotten better over the last 10 or 20,000 miles. So I don't know if there was just a, you know, initial layer of threads that was, you know, needed to wear off a little bit as you drove more. But I have noticed that that's kind of a little bit of a flaw in my opinion, and maybe if they didn't have white thread, it wouldn't show up as clearly against the black leather on the steering wheel. So just something to note there. The infotainment display has had some bugs. We've had, I think, 3 software updates on this since we bought it in November of 2021. And the last 2 updates were pretty major, and I think the last one we did was about 2 years ago in almost November of 2023. I think that was the last one that came out for this infotainment display. And since then, it's been pretty good. Still a little slow at startup, especially on a cold start in the morning. But after about 30 seconds or so, it works pretty well, and we haven't had any crashing issues with the display itself. The only thing that we will note is that Apple CarPlay has still occasionally disconnected and not worked until after we restart our phones or try to reboot the infotainment system, but that only happens probably once every few months, so it's not a major ongoing issue. But again, the infotainment display is okay. I would give it like a B rating. The display itself looks pretty nice. It's nicely integrated. Graphics are pretty good, you know, clean and crisp, but the overall functionality in terms of response and just, you know, consistent performance, I'd give it maybe a B. So not the best, but not the worst. The driver monitoring system as well is very finicky when it comes to just trying to make sure that you're looking at the road. You know, you take a sip of coffee, and if you take a sip for more than 2 or 3 seconds, it starts to beep at you and make you seem like you're a bad driver, even though your eyes are on the road, but it sees the coffee cup and it doesn't see your eyes looking straight ahead. So it can be a little finicky when it comes to that. So just something to keep in mind there. We also had an amplifier issue with the Harman Kardon sound system. The amplifier had to be replaced at about 25,000 miles. There was just a excessive booming from the car. It seemed like, you know, podcasts or music, you'd be driving along after 15-20 minutes and all of a sudden the bass would just be out of control and it'd sound like the bass is just booming for no reason until we restarted the car. Once we restart it, it would go away. Or if you disconnect your phone and restart your phone and reconnect it, it would also go away. So something with just the software of the amplifier and the phone relationship wasn't working quite right. So the dealer replaced the amplifier, which had updated logic or software built into it, which fully resolved the issue at 25,000 miles, and we haven't had that issue in over 2 years now. So that had to be replaced under warranty. The sunroof as well got super creaky after about 40,000 miles or so, especially in cold weather, and we're going over bumps. So I thought it was maybe the roof rail crossbars. I thought it was other things underneath the headliner of the car, but it was not. It was actually the sunroof touching the frame of the car, the roof of the car. And so I cleaned the seal off quite a bit and applied like a thin grease to it that should hold up pretty well. And over the last 10,000 miles, it's made very little noise. But it seems like every 40,000 miles, I got to clean that seal like crazy and make sure it's perfectly good, as well as the part of the roof that it's touching. So that way, any flex that happens doesn't cause this creaking noise. So just something to keep in mind. If your roof sounds like it's creaking, could be the sunroof just rubbing against the frame of the car, and you need to clean that off really, really well every 40,000 miles or so. Seats have held up pretty well. This is the passenger side. You know, the car's not super clean, but it's a daily driver with kids and the wife and the family. Driver's seat is starting to wrinkle a little bit, especially on this outer bolster. You can kind of see it's not super tight like the inside bolster is. You just get out of this side of the car all the time. It's got a pretty high bolster there to keep you in place, but it also kind of gets a lot of wear from getting in and out of the car. So just something to keep in mind. But otherwise it's pretty good. Probably could condition the leather here to make it hold up a little bit better, but all things considered, it's not bad for 50,000 miles. In terms of other things with the car, it's been pretty good, all things considered. The one thing I will mention is overall drivability, especially in hot weather with the air conditioning on. There seems to be this torque converter lockup that happens around 15 to 20 miles per hour as you're slowing down and coasting, and then if you tap the gas just lightly to accelerate, like if you're coming to a red light and it turns green when you're still going 15 miles an hour and you're coasting in that hot weather with the air conditioning on, you tap the gas and it can lurch forward kind of aggressively. I've asked the dealer about software updates regarding the transmission control module, because the turbo engines have a different TR690 transmission, different variant, high torque version of the CVT, that they had a software update issued in like February of 2024 for this issue. But I haven't seen any bulletins. The dealer's not aware of any bulletins that would address this issue for the normally aspirated cars from 2020 to 2025. And I've heard on the forums, people with brand new 2025s of this generation still have that kind of lurch that happens in the same scenario. So low speed drivability, I would say, is a little bit of a concern still. I put in only top tier gas with this car, 87 regular, usually from Costco, but also from like Shell and BP and other major retailers if top tiers get listed. So I put in the right gas, replace the engine air filter every 25 to 30,000 miles. Also every other oil change, so every 12,000 miles or so, I put in 2 bottles of PEA Chevron Techron cleaner into the gas tank. And so I try to keep the fuel injectors as clean as possible. I know that carbon buildup is still a possibility with cars like this. It's a little less common if you use the right oil, at least GF6A or GF6B oil, whatever your car calls for. Full synthetic oil, and then use the right viscosity that this manufacturer specifies, and don't go over 6,000 miles between oil changes. This car doesn't burn any oil after 50,000 miles. I'm really good about getting the oil change done between 5,000 and 6,000 miles, regardless of the amount of time that's passed. But this car also does a decent amount of highway miles that keeps things moving pretty well. At 34,700 miles, I did do a CVT fluid drain and fill at the dealer, so that is one major maintenance item that I did. I think it was like $330 something, and almost 7 quarts of fluid came out of the 12 quarts that are in the car. So use the correct blue fluid. I think it's like CVT3 fluid that the dealer stocks. It's hard to find it in a lot of places, but it's like $25+ a quart, so it's kind of expensive. But drain and fill that every, you know, I would like to do it every 60,000 miles, but I'm a little bit jaded because the CVT had to be replaced on my last Outback, that 2.5 touring from 2018. So at almost 35,000 miles, I just decided to do the drain and refill just as preventative maintenance. I'll do it again at probably 85,000 miles on this car, just to make sure I continuously get that old fluid out of there and contaminants out of there to keep this car running well. And then at about 62,000 miles, I'm going to follow the Canadian owner's maintenance schedule, because I'm in the upper Midwest, more of a severe driving condition area, and I'm going to get the front and rear differentials fluid changed out around that 60 to 62,000 mile point. So that is about it on this 2022 Subaru Outback. It's been a pretty solid car. Definitely keep up on the maintenance on these, follow the oil change intervals, follow the maintenance manuals on this, and get the CVT fluid and the differential fluids changed at around that 60,000 mile point, regardless of where you're at and located, and this car will treat you pretty well. So hope you guys enjoyed the video today on this 50,000 mile update. Almost 4 years on this car, 50,000 miles, exactly 50,511 miles. And if you guys have any questions or comments, please put them in the section below. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.